Hello everyone, in this video let us learn stirred aerated fermenter, which is an example of a typical fermenter which is used in most of the industry. So moving on into fermenter, a fermenter is a closed vessel which provide a controlled environment for the growth of the microorganism to obtain desired product. A fermenter should be able to efficiently produce cell biomass, a metabolite or a bioconversion product. Most fermenters are designed to maintain high biomass concentrations, which are essential for many fermentation processes. So, whenever we are designing a fermenter, we should know that the fermenter has to provide adequate arrangement for aeration, agitation. There should be a temperature control system, a pH control system. There should be a drain system or a overflow vent system to remove the biomass or the cultured products. So, these are the points that we have to keep in mind while designing the fermenter. So the first point is the vessel. The fermenter vessel should be capable of being operated under sterile conditions or the aseptic condition for many number of days. It should also provide adequate aeration and agitation for to meet the metabolic requirements of the microorganism. If we are going for an aerobic fermentation, then the fermenter should have the aeration system and the agitation system, which provides oxygen to the fermentation process, and also the proper mixing of the nutrients and the oxygen should be there so that each cell in the fermenter tank obtains the nutrition and oxygen. The fermenter should also have a pH control system and a temperature control system so that we can keep a check on the pH and the temperature inside the fermenter. If there is any variation in the pH or the temperature, then there will be difficulties in the growth of the microorganism. The microorganism grows only at its optimum pH and temperature. If the pH and the temperature varies, then the microorganism will not grow and therefore the product will not be produced. And also it should have a sampling facilities, so at regular intervals the sample from the fermenter tank is collected and it is tested for the accumulation of acids or alkalis, or for the accumulation of the desired product, or if there is any byproduct. So all of this has to be sampled at regular interval. So therefore a sampling facility also should be provided inside a fermenter. So these are the points that we have to remember or consider whenever we are designing a fermenter. Now moving on into the construction of a typical fermenter. A typical fermenter has a body, it has a seal, it has impellers which is connected to motor and a shaft, and they have baffles which are present at the periphery of the walls of the fermenter, and then there is a sparger. We have a cooling jacket and there is a inoculation port. Also there is a sampling port. Then we have a pH control device and we also have a temperature control device. There will be foam regulating devices to monitor the foam that is being formed during the fermentation tank, and there is a bottom drainage system. Now we will look into each of these parts in detail. Moving on into the body of a fermenter, the main body of a fermenter should be designed or with a material. The fermenter body should be made of a material which is going to withstand repeated sterilization and cleaning process, because these fermenter tanks will be used in industries for many years. So for that, whenever we go for fermentation, the fermenters has to be sterilized and it has to be cleaned. So therefore the material that we are going to use to create a main body should withstand repeated sterilization and cleaning processes. The material should not be toxic to the microorganism, not the human beings, and it has to be corrosion resistant. So therefore we use either stainless steel or a glass for constructing the main body of a fermenter. So usually the stainless steel is corrosion resistant and it will withstand repeated sterilization and cleaning process. So therefore we use stainless steel or a glass body for the fermentation process to take place, or to design a fermenter. This main body will also have a seal. So the seal could be a lip seal or a o-ring seal or a gasket seal. So we use gaskets like this rubber gaskets which are in O shape, that can be used to seal the fermenter tank with the lid. So therefore the fermenter tank has a body and a seal. And you can see here in this there are fan shaped structures. These shaped structures are called as impellers. Impellers helps in the process of agitation. The impellers helps in mixing of the contents that is present in the fermenter tank. The mixing of the ferment contents, or the agitation of the contents, is very essential, because the cells are dispersed or it is suspended in this nutrient media. Sometimes the cells will coagulate or the nutrient medium will coagulate. So therefore, to remove this coagulation, agitation is very important. So the agitation is brought about by the impellers. So the impellers are connected to motor. When the fermenter is on, the motor will help in the rotation of these impellers. So as the impellers rotates, it will mix the contents that is there in the fermenter. The objective of the impellers is the proper mixing. So when there is a proper mixing, there is a uniform environment created. So therefore all the cells that are suspended in the nutrient medium will get proper nutrition and the aeration during the mixing of the fermenter, uh, mixing of the contents inside the fermenter. Moving on into another structure that is called as baffles. The baffles are usually attached to the walls of the fermenter tank. The baffles are metal strips which are roughly 1/10 of the vessel diameter, and the baffles keeps vibrating inside the fermenter tank. So as it vibrates, it will prevent the vortex formation. So during the agitation process by the impellers, the baffles keep vibrating. So therefore during this agitation process, there are chances that the nutrient media can splash onto the lid of the fermenter or onto the walls of the fermenter. So to avoid splashing, we have baffles which will prevent the vortexing. So therefore the splashing is being avoided. Baffles and impellers both helps in the agitation process. Both baffles and agitators will help in the mixture of the nutrient content, so that a uniform environment is created throughout the fermenter tank. So there are different types of agitators that are used. So these are the shapes of the agitator, where we have helical agitator, propeller agitator, turbine agitator, anchor agitator, and paddle agitator. We have many more like disc turbine, vane disc, open turbine, and so on. So these are the different designs of the impellers. Based on its shape, it is being named. So here the impellers that you are seeing is a disc turbine in impellers. And then we have another device called as sparger. Sparger is a device which is for aeration. The primary purpose of aeration is to provide microorganism with a sufficient oxygen in the submerged fermentation process. Aeration is also useful for purging unwanted volatile metabolic products from the medium. Aeration is usually accomplished through a sparger system. A sparger may be defined as a device for introducing sterile air into the medium inside a fermenter tank. To promote aeration in stirred tank, the sparger is usually located directly below the agitator. The sparger structure can affect the overall transfer of oxygen into the medium. So there are three basic type of spargers that are being used. That is the porous sparger. You can notice here these are porous sparger which is made up of uh, a sand material, or it will be filled with a glass wool usually. So you can see here they have many pores here. They are these pores, through these pores, when the air is supplied, when the sterile air is supplied through this pipe, through this pores the oxygen is being splashed into the fermenter tank. So you can see how the oxygen or the air is being splashed into the fermenter tank, which is creating the air bubbles. So this is a porous sparger. And we have another type of sparger called as a nozzle sparger, which has a which has a very wide open mouth here, through which the air is being sparged into the fermenter tank. So the sterile air is sucked through a suction here, and it is in high pressure, it is the air is passed into the fermenter tank through a nozzle sparger. Nozzle sparger will be connected with the wall so that we can open it completely, or it can be partially closed during the fermentation process. So in whatever concentration the air is required, the concentration is adjusted in nozzle sparger by opening or closing the valve. And then we have a orifice sparger. This is an orifice sparger which has which is a perforated pipe. You can see here it is a perforated pipe. Through these perforations, a sterile air will be passed into the fermenter tank. And we have another type of sparger called as combined sparger. This is usually used in small scale fermenters or a pilot fermenters, wherein the sparger, the aeration system, is in contact with the agitators. Here the sparger and the agitator is together. That's why it's called as a combined sparger. Then moving on into the cooling jacket. The cooling jacket and the temperature control system works together. Whenever there is a high temperature or a heat that is being produced inside the fermenter due to the metabolic process, when microorganisms are undergoing metabolism, they produce a lot of heat. When the heat is increased inside the fermenter tank, the temperature increases. So to remove the heat from the fermenter tank, as the temperature is being sensed, once the temperature rise in temperature is sensed, a cold water is passed through this cooling jacket inside the not inside the fermenter, outside the body of the fermenter. The cooling jacket is present covering the body of the fermenter. So when a cold air is passed through this cooling jacket, the cold water that is being passed through the cooling jacket will absorb all the heat that is being present inside the fermenter tank. So therefore the cooling jacket helps in removing the heat that is produced inside the fermenter during the metabolism. And then we have an inoculation port through which the microorganism will be inoculated for the fermentation to take place. And then we also have a sampling port. As I told you, at regular intervals the samples are being collected and tested for acid production or alkali production or the product formation. And then there is a pH control device as well. This pH control device will sense the pH inside the fermenter tank, and if the pH is acidic, then it will add bases to neutralize it. If the pH is alkali, if the pH is high, then it is an alkaline pH, so it adds acids to neutralize the medium inside the fermenter. So the pH control device has a pH probe, which will check the pH, and it is going to add either acid or a bases at regular intervals to maintain the optimal pH required for the growth of the microorganism. And then there is also a foam controlling device. Due to the proteins in the media, or if the product is the protein, then there are possibilities that the foam is being formed due to continuous agitation. This foam will contaminate the entire fermentation, so therefore the foam has to be removed. So there will be a foam controlling device. There will be a probe which is going to measure the amount of foam that is being formed inside the fermenter tank. So as the foam increases, anti-foam agents are being added into the fermenter so that the foam is being controlled. We also have a bottom drainage system. This bottom drainage system helps in harvesting the products that is being formed after the fermentation process. That is all about the different parts of a fermenter. So we have seen different types of spargers and agitators as well in this video. Thank you all.